Hello people of YouTube. I thought it'd be really useful to put together a video comparing the three main ribbon microphones on horn sections across the whole section. If you want to go straight to the audio examples, I will put a timecode in the description below and you can just go straight to that and ignore my next bit of information waffle. So yeah, three main ribbon microphones that I've seen in studios, and I would say probably the three main ribbon mic manufacturers. There are many other ribbon mics out there and they're all pretty good, to be honest, but these are the ones I see most often. I've seen quite a few videos comparing single instruments with various microphones, which is useful, and some good videos out there, but not too many comparing them on a whole section, so same microphone for a bunch of horns in a mix. There is one great video that does do that, and I will link that somewhere here, I think. That's like in a big band setting, 4 trumpets, 4 trombones across more mics than I'm testing today, and that's a really great video actually for hearing different sounds in that context. I'm just going to do something slightly different to that with the saxes added in as well, and more in a pop funk setting. So why do we use ribbon mics for brass instruments? Now, brass instruments are inherently quite bright sounding things. In a room when there's lots of space for the sound to dissipate, they can sound magnificent, but if you shove a microphone quite close up to it, it can sound quite harsh. So ribbon mics tend to roll off the top end of that just to smooth the sound a little bit and tend to sound a little bit more natural and a bit warmer. So that's why condenser mics still can be used. I think if you're trying to get a really cutting, bright sound in a pop mix, a condenser mic is going to be better, but more often than not, it's just going to be a bit too much, so that's why. So the ribbon mics I'm using here are the ones I see most often in a studio session. They're also around about the same price. The Roya is slightly more expensive, but they're all around about £1,000 each. And the section I've gone for recording, a slightly larger section, 2 trumpets, 1 tenor saxophone, a trombone, albeit valve trombone because I don't play slide trombone, and a baritone saxophone which I rented from my favourite brass and woodwind shop, Dorks Music. Go and check them out. Mic number 1, the Coles 4038, a staple in the UK, I think. Probably the microphone I see the most often in sessions that I've done. I want to say thank you to my friend John Spaniel, also a multi-brass instrumentalist and amazing piano player, who lent me his microphone. Mic number 2, the Roya R122. Albeit the R121 is used more often in these sort of situations, the 122 is an active ribbon, uses phantom power to boost the signal. I think the Roya mics tend to be used more in the US. I have seen them here in sessions here, but I've seen so many photos of like big name brass players using the 121 or 122. Wayne Bergeron, Arturo Sandoval, they're often used for those big US sessions. Mic number 3, the AEA R84, a modern take on the classic RCA microphones, and a smaller version of the R44. I would say the 84 is lesser seen. I've seen it maybe once on a session myself, but I have seen it a lot on the internet of people using it for brass stuff. I've used it for brass in these sessions, obviously, and I've used it for, in another studio that I've worked at before, and it actually sounds great. It definitely deserves to be in this list, and AEA are making amazing ribbon mics based, again, on the classic RCA microphones. So I've added a condenser just as like a reference. This is what I call my lazy recording mix. Actually, I've got it here somewhere. Yeah. It's my Shure SM98 clip mic, which I use when I'm too lazy to set up a proper microphone, but I think it sounds great. It's it's the mic I would use for live stuff, and also it's going into my, can't see it here, Coil Audio CA70. Coil, I'm wearing a shirt. Coil Audio, and that's why I think that works quite well. That condenser to tube preamp combination. For this test, I'm putting the Coles and the AEA through a cloud lifter, one of these things. This boosts the signal and keeps the noise floor down, just to kind of match it to the Roya, really, which has its own active preamp. And they're all going into my RME Fireface preamps. No EQ or compression, a little bit of room reverb, just to kind of hear how it fits better in the mix. Okay, enough with the information. Let's move on to the audio examples. So, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below which you preferred or what you prefer for what. It's interesting for me to hear how different the characters of these ribbon mics can be. I'd like to be biased because I own the Royer and want it to be the best one, but it's not necessarily for every situation. I think it cuts through quite well in certain mixes, but it does have like a high-mid thing that I don't necessarily like and have to usually work on. I think some situations the Coles would just sound better. But in the same space, the Coles doesn't necessarily cut through on a heavier mix. The AEA is somewhere in between. I think the AEA is actually a really good starting point for people, and it doesn't have quite the character of the Royer or the Coles. There's something about those mics that have something. I don't know if it's just a procedure and it's like a thing that you just think. But I do think the AEA covers a lot of the frequency spectrum quite well. And then the condenser, obviously completely different sound, but for certain things will sound like the right kind of thing. It will cut through a bit more. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. I will going to try and do a few more of these, more than one a year. And yeah, enjoy your day.